Simpsons. Video games. Bart, put it down, Bart. Ugh. You come in, mate.
Yeah, I am in. Oi. Fuck, man, you alright?
Huh?
You alright? Look a bit spaced out, bro. You alright, man? What's going on with you? Manga.
That's it. I'm doing a Simpsons game review. It's one of the most recognised and influential animated shows ever made, with references and parodies covering everything, even us Aussies.
G'day.
It's one of my favourite shows, and if I'm ever feeling shit, I just chuck on a classic Simpsons episode and laugh those hours away. The bright, colourful yet simple art style caught our attention, and although it seemed a bit rugged at first, it quickly found its feet. The animations and expressions of its characters became elaborate, funny, and extremely well delivered.
A snake bit me.
The town of Springfield feels like a real place, with each location fleshed out and populated by wacky, parodic versions of their real-world counterparts. The writing was also extremely clever, as the show is filled with jokes that operate on many different levels. I watch it these days and notice so many more things that I never did as a kid.
Oh, Smithers guide me in. My pleasure,
I also love the underlying themes, such as the lessons about rampant consumerism. Like how Krusty the Clown keeps making inferior products that the masses keep buying, and often backfire on him in hilarious ways.
And I contend that those tourists were decapitated before they entered the Krusty Land House of Knives. Next question.
Or the lessons on sensationalism, as seen in the Homer Badman episode.
Thank you!
I reckon The Simpsons taught me more about society than anything at school, and I turned out fine. This series is filled with video game references. Remember the Springfield arcade? Bart, Milhouse, even Homer played various funny little video games like Escape from Grandma's House.
Gray's killing me. You have reached the level of ungrateful grandchild. Try again if you dare.
Waterworld.
Game over. Please deposit 40 quarters.
What a rat!
Hockey Dad.
Your kid sucks! Bring it on! Hockey Dads!
Dad, stop! It's only assault! Don't make it murder!
Ignore.
You are a big man! Big man!
And of course, Bone Storm.
You want excitement? Shove this up your stocking!
Whoa! Oh, yeah.
So tell your folks, buy me, Bone Storm, or go to hell!
Buy me, Bone Storm, or go to hell! Bart?
Even Lisa gets addicted to a parody of Crash Bandicoot.
Foolish dingo. You must find and devour the 7 crystal babies, or spend eternity trapped in deep didgeridoo!
I wonder what's in this glowing barrel. What? Nunchucks? Those aren't even Australian.
A few of these have even been made into actual Flash games. Wow. Anyway, back in the 90s when the series was arguably at its best, video game adaptations began appearing on the various consoles of the time. The most recognised of these is Bart vs. the Space Mutants. Most of the earlier titles feature Bart as the main character, with other family members merely offering support. This is probably due to the fact that the first season of the show mostly follows Bart as the main character. Not long after, a few Game Boy titles began to appear, and it's on these particular titles I'll be focused today. The first of these is Bart Simpson's Escape from Camp Deadly. The Game Boy titles are like bite-sized morsels of Simpsons history and pop culture. Interestingly, Escape from Camp Deadly was actually adapted into the episode Escape from Camp Krusty, and it shows. Developed by Imagineer and published by Acclaim, Escape from Camp Deadly is a simple platformer released in late '91 and was the second Simpsons game to be developed. The plot follows Bart and Lisa as they travel to camp for the summer, only to discover that Mr. Burns' nephew, Iron Fist, runs the camp and is hell-bent on making the children's stay a nightmare. It seems to be working, just look at those poor tortured souls in the background. The player controls Bart as he endeavours to survive a torturous day at Camp Deadly. The first thing you'll notice is the jerky scrolling and rather bland rendition of the Simpsons theme. The graphics are serviceable, and the characters and themes recognisable, but the jerky scrolling really takes your attention away from it all. The music is basic and repetitive. So, the first stage has you playing Capture the Flag with the camp counsellors who look like the Men in Black, and touching them drains your health. Don't you just love hearing good sampled speech in Game Boy games? Your primary weapon is the Spit Wad, which can be used to stun certain enemies. And from time to time you run into Lisa, who offers you a weapon upgrade in the form of a boomerang. Why are boomerangs so common in video games? Many developers seem to have a fascination with exotic Aboriginal hunting tools. You can actually hit Lisa with the Spit Wad, but she'll drop the rang on ya, so I usually just grab it and then do this.
Brothers and sisters are natural enemies, like Englishmen and Scots, or Welshmen and Scots, or Japanese and Scots, or Scots and other Scots.
The boomerang is your main defense, and instead of just paralysing, it flat out carves the counsellors into several visceral pieces and sends them flying. It's actually quite horrific. Bart can climb certain trees and poles, but be careful near the top, as when you reach the edge, Bart automatically lets go and falls, and it is bloody annoying. Now, you've probably been able to tell just by looking at it, but the controls in this game completely suck. Throughout the stage, you'll climb into tree houses to take on the bosses. This guy's name's Blindside Bill, so it's kind of a hint at how to take him down. Lisa then appears and hands you one of the game's most pointless additions. 3 suits that aren't even mentioned in the game's manual. The bee suit, which guards against bees, the football suit that lets you mow down enemies, and the nuclear suit, which guards you against hits. These suits have such limited functions that they seem to be more of an afterthought rather than an integral part of the gameplay. You seriously don't need them at all. Along the way you might encounter a madman named Mort, who kills you if you touch him. But if you get the boomerang, well... Your health's represented by donuts.
Forbidden donut.
And you'll gain up to 6 hits by collecting them from enemies that are a darker shade of colour. You can also collect Krusty heads for free lives, and of course, the flags for points. So apparently, Iron Fist lets his Uncle Monty dump toxic waste in the woods.
Excellent.
Thanks to this, you'll frequently enter into strange underground sections with all manner of wacky mutated creatures and weird radioactive materials. Once you've grabbed the final flag, you can move on to the next area. These bulletin boards usually signify the beginning of a new stage, making the game feel strangely seamless. In stage 2, you take place in a food fight throughout the cafeteria. So you grab whatever foodstuffs are lying around, such as tofu burgers, liver pizza, and broccoli. Then you throw it at the camp counsellors. They'll basically be trying to kill Bart, throwing forks, sharp knives, but you can throw your food at these to shield yourself. If you throw anything in front of the cafeteria guys, they'll make you eat every last piece of liver pizza you got, so be careful. Nelson's the boss of this stage, a great little cameo. Now the following 2 stages actually repeat these tasks, so once you finally do all of that, you get to the final level and it gets really interesting as Bart and Lisa decide they can't take any more and try to scale Mount Deadly for a shot at freedom, but Iron Fist overhears them. Bloody conniving old git. This level features climbing sections with counsellors lobbing rocks down at ya and annoying eagles that fly across the screen. Soon you start running into skeletons and bats. Yep. Some of the annoying birds can be stood on and they'll carry you across to secret locations full of donuts. Donuts. After a quick skip through the woods, fighting bears and spiders, you'll come to an underground section. Here Iron Fist Burns has captured Lisa, and Bart must do battle. Bart must knock out all the light bulbs on the ceiling, and he can do this before even activating the boss fight. Either way, Lisa gets away, they shut down the station, leaving Camp Deadly in darkness. Hooray!
Take that, nuclear power plant! Fiddlesticks.
And that is Bart's escape from Camp Deadly. For the time, it was a novel little piece of Simpsons pop culture, but, you know, it really isn't that great. Hope you join me next week for part 2, where we examine Bart vs. the Juggernauts. Catch you then.